Castle Cornet is a large island castle in Guernsey, and former tidal island, also known as Cornet Rock or Castle Rock. Its importance was as a guardian not only of the island, but of the roadstead. It became part of one of the breakwaters of St. Peter Port's harbour, the main one in the island, since 1859. Geography. The island measures about 2 hectares in area, with a length of 175 meters and a width of 130 meters. It lies not quite 600 meters east of the coast of Guernsey. History. Formerly a tidal island, likely on the west coast of Guernsey, it was first fortified as a castle between 1206 and 1256, following the division of the Duchy of Normandy in 1204. There now existed a keep, chapel, 2 courtyards and curtain walls. In 1338, when a French force captured the island, Cornet was besieged and captured on the 8th of September, and the garrison of 11 men-at-arms and 50 archers were massacred. The island was retaken in 1340, with the castle recaptured in August 1345 after a 3-day attack by professional soldiers and the local militia. The French had spent the 7-year improving the defences, including probably the barbican. In 1358 the French returned and the castle taken again, with the French evicted the next year and an island traitor executed. In 1372 Owain Lorgach, a claimant to the Welsh throne, at the head of a free company, on behalf of France, attacked Guernsey, popularly called La Descente des Aragosis. Owain Lorgach withdrew after killing 400 of the island militia, without capturing the besieged Castle Cornet, which he found to be strong and well supplied with artillery. Yet another assault by the French in 1380 saw the castle captured for a short period before the French were yet again evicted by island forces. Improvements were made with the Carey Tower constructed around 1435. A French assault in 1461 was repulsed. The cost of construction of works, repairs, maintenance and the garrison was paid for from revenues raised in the island by the warden, or as sometimes called, keeper of the castle under royal warrant. With the advent of cannon and gunpowder, the castle was remodeled between 1545 and 1548. In 1547 the French, having captured Sark, descended on Guernsey and were fired on by shipping off St. Peter Port and by cannon on the castle. Additional building works took place. Professor John Le Patterel, in the building of Castle Cornet, mentions that in 1566 iron and hammers were taken to Crevisham, and that island quarried for the castle. Sand was brought from home. In 1594 the Royal Battery was completed, as was the sutler's house and improved new-style polygonal bastions. Civil War. During the First, Second and Third English Civil Wars, the castle had 4 commanders. The castle supported the Royalist cause whilst the island of Guernsey supported the Parliamentarian cause. Sir Peter Osborne closing the castle on the 14th of March 1642. Throughout the siege the castle cannon fired on the town of St. Peter Port, reducing many buildings and forcing the royal court to relocate to Elizabeth College. It is estimated that 10,000 cannonballs were fired at the town during this period. The island commanders were captured on a ship and taken to the castle. Imprisoned in the Carey Tower, they made a rope out of flax, escaped from the tower and returned at low tide back to the island. In 1651, the island of Jersey, which was royalist, was taken by parliamentarian forces and Ensign Nicholas Robert from St. Martin. Guernsey was with the parliamentarian forces, whilst they recovered the crown of England that had belonged to Charles I from the courthouse in Jersey and brought it back to Guernsey, delivering it to the governor of Castle Cornet. For 9 years the castle held out, supported from the royalist island of Jersey. 2 years after the execution of Charles I, whilst under the command of Colonel Roger Burgess, the castle surrendered on the 17th of December 1651, with the garrison of 55 permitted to march out bearing arms and to leave the island. The royal crown was returned to London. Castle Cornet was the penultimate royalist garrison in the British Isles to surrender. Later developments, serving as a prison for Civil War parliamentary leader Colonel John Lambert from 1662 to 1670. It served as official residence of the Governor of Guernsey until the 30th of December 1672, when the keep was catastrophically destroyed. A bolt of lightning struck the magazine of the castle, destroying the keep and a number of living quarters. The governor at the time was Lord Hatton. His mother, wife and a number of members of staff were killed in the explosion. Thereafter the governor of the island would in future live on the island rather than in the castle. The tower was not rebuilt. The castle was upgraded during the Napoleonic Wars period, with additional barracks. Its use as the sole prison in the island ceased with the construction of a prison at St. James Street in 1811. It also became integrated into the breakwater from the island after the war. Along the breakwater, a pond for toy yachts was constructed in 1887 for Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee, which served as a French seaplane base during World War I. The castle was used as a prison from earliest times up until the end of World War II. During World War II, it was occupied by a small garrison of German troops, and concrete modifications were undertaken to the castle to suit modern warfare. It was referred to as Hafenschloss by the German occupiers. After the war, it was presented to the people of Guernsey in 1947 by the Crown. Description: constructed over a period of 800 years on a small islet, there is little order in its construction. There are 6 gateways to negotiate to get to the citadel at the top. The main gate is concealed from cannon fire from the island. It bears the arms of Queen Elizabeth I. The original curtain wall was built around 1570 but has been refaced to strengthen it since. The outer ward reached through the main gate with its portcullis. A barrack block on the right was built in the 18th century and a 19th century guard room. The second curtained wall behind dated from the English Civil War period. At the top of the ward is another gate, which twists to make assault harder. The barbican is the outermost part of the medieval castle dating from the mid-13th century. The arches inside allow defenders above to attack people below with missiles and liquids, such as quicklime and liquid lead. Another portcullis. Some of the walls here are made of poor materials, small stones, and may have been built by the French when they were under siege around 1345. A passageway and another sharp turn to stop the use of a battering ram, a drawbridge, and the original entrance to the 13th century castle. A vaulted passageway with a tower on top, the original gatehouse later used as the town prison. The passageway became the Prisoner's Walk. The citadel, which had yet another portcullis and door at the entrance, and there are considerable works dating from the 1940 to 45 German occupation period. The top held a square tower from which 3 parliamentarians escaped in 1643. Many of the defensive walls in this area were built in the 16th century. At the top used to exist the round tower that was destroyed in the explosion of 1672 that killed 7, including the governor's wife, Lady Hatton, and some children. The medieval tour carré can be seen together with the gunner's tower and its medieval courtyard. The married quarters barracks were built around 1750. The sutler's house is the oldest domestic building, having escaped the 1672 explosion. The hospital in the Inner Bailey was built in 1746. The northeast corner of the castle holds the Royal Battery, built around 1575. It is from the Curtain Battery that the noonday gun is fired. Present day, the castle with its 800-year history is itself a museum, and inside it incorporates the following additional museums: the Story of Castle Cornet, Maritime Museum, 201 Squadron RAF Museum, Royal Guernsey Militia Museum, including artifacts from the Royal Guernsey Light Infantry. Every day at 12, a cannon is fired. The noonday gun. It also has a restaurant, and hosts outdoor theatre performances during the summer months. Gallery.